Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mills and I'm back with another video. I'm going to be talking on how to write a cover letter or an introduction letter when applying for a Brazil visa. Cover letter or the introduction letter is very important when applying for a visa because this gives you a summary of everything that you'll be submitting in your application, your intentions, your trip details, your finance details, your accommodation, and everything you'll be needing. If the consular reads every detail or summary of what is in your application, it makes the application easier to analyze. The first document that I upload when I'm filling the application form is a cover letter. Here is how to write a cover letter or an introduction letter. I'm not here to be showing you a sample for you to do copy and paste, but I'm just going to be giving you tips on the things which you should have on the cover letter. Vamos lá. This is a letter, so you should be writing a letter, and the first thing you should do is to address the letter to the embassy in which you're applying for the Brazilian visa. You're going to get the address of the embassy which you're applying to. For example, you can say the embassy of Nigeria. I go ahead to put the address of the embassy. The next thing that should follow should be the title. The title of the letter is just simply what you're requesting for. If it's for a tourist visa, then you write a request for tourist visa, or a request for work visa, a request for student visa, a request for family reunion visa. After the title, you don't need to write too much. You just go straight to the point. 3 or 4 paragraphs is going to be okay. So you're going to start with the introduction, and the introduction should just give you a summary of everything that will follow. You start off with your name, your nationality, and your ID number or your passport number. If you're living in another country, and you give your resident permit and your resident permit number, you go ahead to say where you live, like your address, the full address of where you're living. Still in the introduction, you have to give your intended date of travel to Brazil. So you say you'll be traveling to Brazil from this time to this time, or you can just give the number of days, like for 10 days and so on. Then you go ahead to give the purpose of traveling to Brazil. So I'll be traveling to Brazil from this time to this time for the purpose of tourism, for the purpose of study, for the purpose of work, for the purpose of meeting my family member. Give the reason why you'll be traveling to Brazil. You move into the next part. You're just going to give a summary of what you actually do, like your profession. If you're employed, you're going to say your role, you give the name of the company you're working at, as well as the address. If you're a business person, you can say I'm a business person, I own this business. You give the address of where the business is located. If you are a housewife, if you're not working, you say you're not working, but maybe your husband or your spouse is actually working, your partner is on a leave, or your partner is on a sabbatical. If you're a student of this university, you're studying this at this university, the university is located here, and you're on a break or you're on holidays, so you'll be traveling to Brazil. You can go ahead and talk about what you'll be doing in Brazil, just like a brief itinerary of what you'll be doing in Brazil. You're going to be visiting this area, cities like maybe Rio that have lots of things to do, maybe Copacabana. You'll be visiting the beach, you'll be visiting Christ the Redeemer statue, you'll be visiting Sugarloaf Mountain, in just a name a few. Thereafter, you need to talk on your accommodation, where you're going to be living. If you're going to be living in a hotel, you say you're going to be living in a hotel, and you give the address of the hotel, if possible the contact number of the hotel as well. If you have received an invitation from someone in Brazil and you're going to be living with that person, then you're also going to state on the cover letter that you're living with a friend who is living in this particular city with this address. Maybe another paragraph, you explain about the funding, proof of funds. If you're going to be funding the trip, then you say yes, you're going to be funding the entire trip. If somebody is inviting you, then you'll be saying that, oh, this person is going to be taking care of my trip while I'm in Brazil. I'm going to be taking care of the other expenses, as well as you need to talk about how you're going to prove the funds. So you can can say I have a 3 months bank statement from this bank having a balance. You're going to write the entire amount. My bank has a balance of this, which is equivalent to that in reals. Whichever currency you're using, you can convert it to reals. You're going to be sponsored by your spouse, by a relative. You put the relative's name, give the account, and what the person is going to be submitting. So if you're going to be submitting pay slips, you also have to put it there. If you and your spouse have to submit separate bank statement which will fund the entire trip, then you're going to write it there. The trip is going to be funded by me and my husband. He has a bank account from this with this balance. I have a bank account from this with this balance. Putting it together, it gives a total of this, which is equivalent to that in reals. If you're going for study, maybe you have a sponsor, you can also put the details like that. If you're going for work, don't need to really show too much money because you're going to be working, but then you need to show money that will take you through the first month. When you arrive, then you can start getting your salary. So the next thing you want to do is you put your contact details. So you can say, for more information, you should be contacted through a valid telephone number and a valid email. At the end, you give your closing remarks. Yours sincerely. After the closing remarks, you need to put your full names, the place where you wrote that letter, the day or the date where you wrote that letter, and you sign your signature at the end of it. I have practically set everything that is in the online application as well as the documents that you'll be submitting. This makes it very easy for the consular to analyze your documents. On this letter, I've spoken about your basic information, I've spoken about your address, I've spoken about the intended days of travel to Brazil, I've spoken about the purpose of which you're traveling to Brazil, I've spoken about your profession, I've spoken about a brief itinerary of your travel to Brazil, I've spoken about accommodation, I've spoken about finance, as well as I've spoken about your contact details. That's how you write a cover letter. Cover letters makes your work very organized, and it gives a summary of everything the consular needs to know about your application. Have further questions, you can leave them in the comment section. If you have been watching this video until then, please like, share, and have subscribed to my channel. Please do so and hit on the notification bell so that you get updated every time I upload a new video in that same light. Ciao.